In American criminal history, few names carry the same chilling weight as John Wayne Gacy, a respected businessman, a political volunteer, a family man, and sometimes a clown who entertained children at parties and charity events. Behind this carefully built image was one of the most prolific serial killers in the United States. This is the story of how a broken childhood, unchecked violence, and a double life led to the deaths of 33 young men. John Wayne Gacy was born on March 17, 1942, in Chicago, Illinois. His father, John Stanley Gacy, was an abusive alcoholic who believed masculinity meant dominance and cruelty. From an early age, young John was beaten, humiliated, and emotionally crushed by his father. His mother, Marion Gacy, loved her son deeply but lacked the power to protect him. She provided comfort but never intervention. Gacy was named after the famous American actor John Wayne, a symbol of strength, height, and toughness. Ironically, John Wayne Gacy was overweight, emotionally sensitive, and physically fragile, everything his father despised. As a child, John Wayne Gacy constantly sought his father's approval. He tried to impress him through obedience, hard work, and small achievements, hoping for recognition or affection. Instead, every effort was met with ridicule. His father openly dismissed John's accomplishments, calling them meaningless or weak. In some cases, Gacy was punished not for failure, but simply for trying. This was not just abuse, it was the systematic destruction of a child's sense of worth. Over time, John began to see himself as a permanent failure, someone incapable of success no matter how hard he tried. This repeated emotional rejection played a critical role in shaping his personality. It fostered deep insecurity, suppressed rage, and a compulsive need to prove control and dominance later in life. During childhood and adolescence, Gacy suffered from repeated fainting spells caused by a head condition later linked to trauma. Instead of receiving sympathy, his father accused him of faking illness and punished him for being weak. Doctors later confirmed the condition, but the emotional damage was already done. These experiences created deep feelings of shame, suppressed anger, and a desperate need for control and approval. In the late 1950s, Gacy left home and moved away from his family. He found work at a funeral home in Las Vegas. Here, a disturbing turning point occurred. Gacy later admitted that he engaged in his first sexual act with the body of a deceased young man. This experience permanently linked death, control, and sexual power in his mind. It was the foundation of the behavior that would later escalate into murder. In 1964, Gacy married Marlyn Myers, a woman from a wealthy and well-connected family in Iowa. Her family owned several fast food franchises, and through them, Gacy gained financial stability and social legitimacy. He managed KFC restaurants, joined the local JC's organization. He became involved with local politics, especially the Democratic Party. He attended social events and built a reputation as a hardworking family man. He appeared trustworthy, friendly, and successful. This marriage elevated his status dramatically. But behind closed doors, Gacy was already offending. In 1968, Gacy was arrested and charged with sexually assaulting a teenage boy. During the investigation, he attempted to intimidate and physically assault a witness. He was convicted in December 1968 and sentenced to 10 years in prison. He served approximately 18 months before being released on parole in 1970. The conviction destroyed his public image. His wife filed for divorce, citing fear and moral collapse. Gacy lost contact with his children, and his respected social standing disappeared overnight. After release, Gacy returned to Illinois determined to rebuild his life. He started a construction business, PDM Contractors, and remarried in 1972. He purchased a house in Des Plaines, Illinois. This house would later become infamous. Gacy presented himself as reformed. He volunteered politically, supported the Democratic Party, and was photographed with public officials. He also began performing occasionally as a clown under the name Pogo, mainly at hospitals, charity events, and children's parties. This clown persona allowed him to appear harmless, trusted, and approachable. Between 1972 and 1978, Gacy murdered at least 33 young men and teenage boys. His victims were often employees, runaways, or young men facing financial or family problems. He targeted those less likely to be immediately reported missing. Control was central to every crime. He relied on manipulation first. Job offers, alcohol, or drugs to lower resistance and establish control. Once dominance was achieved, violence followed. Suffocation was the most common cause of death because this method reflected Gacy's need for power rather than impulsive violence. Stabbing occurred less frequently and was seen as situational, often linked to moments when control began to slip. Criminologists emphasize that these acts were not random. They formed a consistent cycle of trust, control, and domination. Each successful crime reinforced Gacy's sense of power and invulnerability. To conceal his actions, he hid most victims beneath his house. The method relied on isolation and secrecy rather than sophistication. Despite attempts to manage odors, neighbors still noticed foul smells, which Gacy explained away with excuses. In December 1978, 15-year-old Robert Peace disappeared after meeting Gacy regarding a job opportunity. His mother refused to accept silence. She contacted police repeatedly and demanded action. This persistence forced authorities to investigate Gacy seriously. Surveillance, interviews, and forensic evidence quickly exposed contradictions in Gacy's story. Police searched Gacy's home in late December 1978. They discovered human remains buried beneath the house. 26 victims were found there. 7 additional victims were later confirmed to have been disposed of elsewhere. The final confirmed victim count was 33. Police displayed clothing, jewelry, and personal items recovered from Gacy's possession to families of missing persons. Many victims were identified this way, restoring names to the dead. In 1980, John Wayne Gacy was convicted of 33 counts of murder and was sentenced to death. Psychologists diagnosed John Wayne Gacy with antisocial personality disorder. He showed no genuine remorse and viewed his victims as objects rather than human beings. During the trial, FBI profiler Robert K. Ressler, one of the founders of criminal behavioral analysis, described him as a classic sexual psychopath who knew exactly what he was doing. On May 10, 1994, Gacy was executed by lethal injection. Shortly afterward, his house was demolished. The land was cleared and the address was changed, an attempt to erase the physical reminder of the crimes. When families, schools, and communities fail to offer safety and dignity, the cost can be devastating, not only for the children but for everyone around them. The way we treat children today helps determine the kind of world we live in tomorrow.